There we go.
we go.
All right. The countdown went and it was still streaming. So, hello, everybody. We are finally live. This is Talking Movies with Sean and Kenny. I'm Sean.
I'm Kenny.
So, we are here and thank you for dropping in, taking time away from the Olympics, if that is what you were doing, and anything else that you may have been doing, taking the time to come and visit with us tonight at our new time of 7 p.m. Which is basically because I'm old and I have to go to bed earlier.
He gets his wife to warm up the warm milk before he goes to bed.
Yes, exactly.
Kids.
Yes. So
time for the warm milk.
Yes, I gotta drink it out of a bowl with my cats. So we have a pretty full slate of stuff to talk about tonight. We have our theme tonight was hidden treasures. We'll get to that eventually. We did have a whole bunch of movie news to talk about, mostly centered around the MCU. So we'll get into that. We've also got a review of Deadpool and Wolverine that I'll be talking about. And the hidden treasures comes from two of the movies that we kind of unearthed during our discussion last week.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Victor.
Hey, Victor.
When we were talking about from flops to cult classics, we just randomly picked two movies to watch, and we're going to talk about those tonight. So those are the hidden treasures. So we will get into our random movie news. So you've been looking at the numbers on Deadpool and Wolverine more than I have. What is it up to now?
They said it will this weekend. It will pass over $1 billion. $1 billion worldwide. That's worldwide, folks.
Yeah.
So that I've been like crazy infatuated with these. I don't usually get like infatuated with like movie numbers or anything because everything's like bloated. But like from friends and what I've been reading, every theater has been like sold out.
Yep.
You know, and like even I don't go to like the IMAX ones, but one of our friends, he was talking about it being like $50 a ticket for an IMAX seat. Okay,
what?
So
Seriously?
50, yeah. Jody,
Oof.
You know Jody.
Yeah.
He was saying it was between his son paid $40 to $50 for an IMAX seat, and so if you're getting 50, you know, just do the multiplication there. If you have like 200, you know, 200 seats in one of those IMAX theaters, and you're at least getting four. And what's the runtime? 220.
I think 205. I believe
205. Okay, so that's running concurrently from like 9 o'clock in the morning till like what 10 at night.
Yep, at least.
Do the math, and it's over. Like I think they said 3,500 theaters.
Yeah, it is playing at 4,200 theaters
Okay.
in the U.S. right now.
Yeah,
Oh,
Victor said.
Okay.
Yeah, Victor said it took 2 weeks to get to $1 billion for Inside Out 2. Yeah, 208. Thanks, Victor.
Yeah, I thought it was 205, but with all the crap they put on in front of it, I went in. I saw a 10:30 a.m. showing on Saturday. I went in. I sat down on my seat at 10:20 a.m. The movie didn't start till 11:05.
Holy cow!
Because they had pre-roll and then they had trailers and commercials and all that other stuff. And so I didn't walk out of the theater until sometime around 1:20-ish,
wow.
I think.
That's a long experience.
You know, that's I didn't, because I stayed for all the credits and whatnot, and then I didn't like run out of the theater as soon as I got out of there. But the first time I looked at Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, Victor said he wouldn't be surprised if they put like 30 plus minutes of trailers in front of it because it's the biggest movie of the year.
Yeah,
They had trailers in the pre-roll when I went. When I say pre-roll, that's the stuff like I don't know if because I don't know where you're from, Victor, but and my theater's a Regal and they have the Nuvi, I think it is. So they do that and then they roll commercials and then in that commercials they have trailers and then they stop that and then they roll the trailers like before the film. Okay. Um and then they run like one last commercial and then they run the movie. So I literally I can't even remember how many trailers there were in front of the movie. I like to take a mental note of the movies that they advertise before a movie, like, oh, that looks good, this looks good, blah blah blah. I can't remember. I think I forgot what movie I came to see while I was sitting there.
Did they do the Deadpool and Wolverine, like, silence your phones ad?
They did, yeah.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah, that was the last thing they showed before the movie started.
Oh, okay.
Which was kind of hilarious because that ends. It says Deadpool and Wolverine opens July 26th. Get your tickets now. And I'm like, I think I did already, but thanks. But yeah, that's there was a trailer in front of it was during the pre-roll for a movie called Cuckoo that looked really, really interesting. Victor says, I would think they would attach the trailer for Brave New World, which is what's coming next. Oh, they didn't do that for you? I did get Captain America, Brave New World. That was on there.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, that was on there. Somewhere in the mix. Because that was the first time I've seen it. The trailer for it.
Oh, okay.
They actually made a crack about Harrison Ford because he plays Thunderbolt Ross. The fact that he's a different actor because William Hurt doesn't play him anymore for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
And he said something about he shaved his mustache.
Oh, did he?
He goes, yeah, it makes him look different.
That's funny.
But yeah, that's pretty hilarious. But yeah, so unbelievable, almost $1 billion. And yeah, Victor had said that it took Inside Out 2 weeks to get to $1 billion.
Yeah,
and Deadpool a week. What's the fastest a movie has gotten to $1 billion?
That's a great question.
Anybody out there know in chat? I don't.
Was Titanic?
Was it Endgame?
Endgame. Oh, okay. I didn't even think of that. 9 days.
Wow.
Good golly. I knew that was big, but I didn't realize it was that big. Wow. 9 days.
Is that worldwide?
That's really amazing. We're like 6 or 7? Wow.
Oh, okay. It was. Yeah, I just looked it up. 5 days.
5 days. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Endgame is the undisputed champion. Yeah, it hit 500 million in 3 days. It hit $1 billion in 5, 1.5 billion in 8, 2 billion in 11, and 2.5 billion in 20 days. Only 2 films have hit $2.5 billion. Wow. Yeah.
I knew that was huge, but I didn't realize how huge that was. Wow.
The fastest to $1 billion were Avengers Endgame and Avengers of Infinity War.
Oh, okay,
Endgame got there in
sense.
5, Infinity got there in 11. Jeez. And Avatar is the only other film that got to 2 billion. Or I'm sorry. Avatar, the original Avatar, was the only other one to get to 2.5 billion. And it took 72 days to get that far. Yeah.
But I wonder what that would be with the inflation with the prices too, because that's all also 20 years ago too.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't know if those are adjusted or not. You can always play that game too, but
Oh yeah,
yeah, I don't know. Titanic, Titanic took 5,233 days to hit two
wow.
billion,
But
but it made it.
if you remember, man, when that came out, that's all everybody heard of. But you know,
What,
you
Titanic?
couldn't. Yeah, you couldn't escape that damn thing. You
Oh
know,
God, no.
and it was just like I remember. Remember Kenny G had a version of "Heart Will Go On" with Celine Dion, like the instrumental version of that. I remember working at the store and we got like CD singles of it that were like $1.49 or something, and they were like selling them at the register. We had like 15 registers, and they were selling them not even in Sight and Sound. They were selling them at the registers when you checked out with the TV guide.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean that's how huge that was. And I remember when we got them in, we had this big like gaudy display that looked like the boat and stuff, like
Mm-hmm.
the end of the boat with them like standing on it, and then they had the widescreen and full screen versions of it for like 1996 that you could get
Yep.
it, and people were just like, it looked like they were like Tickle Me Elmo dolls or something like that. They were coming in and buying like a couple. I'm like, honey, this is gonna be around for a while, you know. They were like standing outside waiting to get these, double DVDs. I mean, double VHS tapes of them.
Yep.
You know.
I forgot about that. That was a 2-pack.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Victor says I'm not old enough to say I experienced the Titanic hype, but the song is still overplayed.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, that's what we were talking. I have Olympic fever, and I was, is Celine gonna like hit her chest like she did at the Oscars? You know,
Just to keep herself alive.
Here, yeah, to keep her alive. So she don't turn to stone. Good Lord, that's all. Getting off that for a second for the Olympic fever. I don't know if you guys watched any of the Olympics, but we were doing over and under, like sort of like Price is Right on how many athletes were on each boat.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like we were all yelling out. It was like 240, 440, like that. And then we would play like the Price is Right theme just to annoy my niece, because my niece is really into it.
So were you doing for each boat or for each team?
Oh yeah, for each one. Kazakhstan, the Olympic, the Olympic athletes. So we were trying to bet betting like M&Ms, how much is on there. I mean, there was one that had 3 athletes and there was like 9 people. I'm like, well, that was kind of phony, throwing up,
Like who are those other people? Like security and handlers and whatnot.
Yeah. I'm sorry to get off on that, but it was just like when you brought that up with Celine Dion. She was like the big, surprise,
I didn't even see her. I went to bed.
I didn't either. I seen her on Twitter. I gave up when the horse was galloping on the ocean.
I got to the flag being hung upside down, and then I turned it off.
Yeah, because we had to go to church the next day, and it was like, okay, let's go.
Yeah,
it was already too late. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Yeah,
that's all right.
Victor says he's surprised Borat.
Well, yeah.
Was on the Kazakhstan boat. That's funny. Very nice.
Yes.
That's great.
How many people did they have on their team? Do you remember?
I think we had 4 for America. It was 454.
No, Kazakhstan. I'm sorry.
It was like Kazakhstan. I think there was like 6.
6. Okay. I didn't think it was very much, but yeah.
And I think 3 of them were fencing people. And it was funny. They had I watched it because I thought that was kind of interesting. Okay, and I don't even know what countries it were, and it was they were showing the women fencing, and they went, you had to take broad strokes, And I'm like, well, that's kind of offensive calling the ladies broads on here, But apparently in fencing, that is a move when you like surge towards the person.
Mm-hmm.
It's called a broad stroke. And I'm thinking, because even my friend next to me when we were watching it, he kind of goes, "Did you just call that woman a broad?" And I'm like, "I think so." But yeah,
Whoops.
yeah, whoopsie. But yeah, I can't wait for I told Sean earlier, I am ready for volleyball. I love the volleyball.
Yeah.
Those, and
I like the track and field, and I like volleyball, which there's been a little bit of, and uh, I watched some of the gymnastics, but I think the way the coverage has been in the United States is it gets kind of spoiled because I work during the day, so I can't watch the live events.
right,
So then I sit down and I watch the news at 6, and then they spoil all the events in the sports um, part of the news, and then the network news comes on, and then they spoil some more stuff, and then it's 8 o'clock. The taped replays come on, and you already know what happened. So like now I don't want to watch it. So
yeah.
it
And
kind of
then
that
it's
kind of
like when
stinks.
you watch the coverage at night, it's like they'll go to two events, and then they'll do I'm Rand Spear, your custody lawyer. They'll do like these like lawyer. They'll do like I tested it out with. I'm a Phillies fan.
Hmm.
And I never watched the pregame show. I just go right to the game. So I watched the
Right.
pregame show the other day. I'm not kidding you. There was two Domino's pizza commercials. This was like all in a half an hour show. Two Domino's pizza with the guy like tricking everybody like he's the head of Domino's or something. He's giving them New York pizzas. Okay. Then there was three attorney, four local car spots, and then there was the FanDuel betting thing,
Hmm.
all in a half an hour spot. It was like, why bother have a pre-show when they're basically going and then when they're doing the pre-show, they're talking about, well, Bryce Harper, get it? It's plus 135. He'll get a hit this at bat.
Yeah.
And then they go to another commercial. So I'm sorry to get off on
No.
that, but it was like
No,
the
that's right.
same. It was the same with the Olympics too. They
Right.
were like putting betting stuff in the Olympics.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, it was like the Russians have a point plus 130. I don't know because I don't gamble, so I don't
Right.
know all the lingo with it. But it was like this is sponsored by FanDuel or not a sponsor.
And never will be.
And never will be because me and you do not bet. So
No, I'll bet on football games. Like I'll take the parlays sometimes, but that's about
I
it.
don't, dude. I don't even know how to do that.
Yeah,
I,
it's super simple with the apps, but that's only
oh,
because
okay.
it. If they didn't have it in the app, I wouldn't know how to do it.
Oh,
But
okay. Yeah, I would just feel bad that I would be like I couldn't buy another DVD or something like that. It's like you blew $20. Oh well, you could be just like ordering for Mr. Alf or something like that.
right,
So I'd be like really mad at myself.
yeah. Victor said they do the live events earlier in the afternoon, and the network does a better job covering those. I know that, but I'm working, so I can't watch during the afternoon. So I don't really get a chance to watch them during the afternoon.
Yeah, I've watched a couple of the like handball game, like the stupid stuff that people don't watch, like rowing, and I love the handball, and hell, I had one. They had Colin Jost doing surfing the other day.
Oh
He
yeah,
was
he's the
he's the announcer, and I'm like, the only time I'm going to watch that is if you have your wife out there, you know. Bring
Scarlett
Scarlett.
Johansson live from Tahiti. Okay,
Yeah.
no problem.
So I was
Hey
just
John.
like, hey John, how you doing, buddy? So yeah. So who else is getting back to like the movies? So that was your Olympic coverage.
That was our Olympic detour.
That was our little detour for the Olympic coverage. But how did everybody feel about Robert Downey back in the MCU universe? How did everybody feel about that?
tell you how
as
I felt.
Doctor Doom.
I felt that is a Hail Mary of desperation, is what that is.
Oh, okay.
Um, the combine that and the fact that they got the Russo brothers back to direct, I think that just screams of desperation. They're going to spin it, as a I don't want to say a success, but yeah, exactly, Victor. It
Yep.
sums it up. Stunt casting, desperation 101. I was at a party on Sunday, and one of my friends is way more in tune with the comics industry than I am. And apparently, there is a storyline somewhere in the Marvel universe where um, Victor Von Doom switches places with Tony Stark or something.
Oh,
And
okay.
so it's feasible that they could make this work. But the fact that they got Robert Downey Jr. to come back after playing such an iconic character with, from Iron Man, and then got the Russo brothers back to direct, and who did the most successful movies in the MCU, the Russo brothers, and who was responsible for a lot of that, Robert Downey Jr.'s charisma, and
Hmm.
what's been lacking in the MCU recently, charisma and identifiable characters,
Star.
and
I mean,
yeah, exactly,
my mom did not care what the hell the superheroes were doing, but she liked Robert Downey Jr.
exactly,
She always liked Robert Downey Jr. So it was like, you know, like she like knew who Charlie Chaplin was because she watched movies. But oh, that cutie pie's on there. So I'll watch that.
yeah,
So, but yeah, that's what's lacking with the MCU stuff. I mean, they don't have any big stars, and what they were trying to do. Like, I tried to watch Miss Marvels, as the great Randy Jackson would say. Didn't work for me, dog. I just, and they're trying they're trying to do like, I don't know. It was just it. I just didn't feel any of the characters. You
yeah.
can identify with some of the characters.
I I think the MCU in the early days. I was watching Red Letter Media. I don't know if you've ever watched them, but
Yeah, I've
they
heard of them, but I haven't.
yeah, they're really good at analyzing a lot of stuff, and they're really funny too. But they were talking about Deadpool and Wolverine, and how it was pretty honest about the fact that when Wolverine came in, uh, Deadpool says, you're entering the MCU at a low point, um, and the multiverse can make these. Anybody can come back from any time. Death isn't even um, isn't even a way to get rid of a character. Anybody goes, anybody can come back. You can pull from anywhere now, um, and it's just, I don't know, it's this multiverse thing, and I think yeah, Victor's mentioning that. Yeah, they've turned into Fast and Furious at this point. That's pretty
Yeah,
much
that's a
what it
great
is.
point.
But what my point was, when they first started out, the movies were essentially standalone for the most part. The you didn't have to see Iron Man to understand the Hulk. You didn't have to see Thor to understand um, Iron Man. Even though they were connected, they were pretty much standalone. But then it got to be where you had to see every single thing, or you wouldn't understand the next one. And so that sort of carried along movies like Guardians of the Galaxy, where the characters weren't necessarily the strongest, but you knew you had to see the next movie because you wanted to see what the next part of the story was. And Victor just covered that. It didn't feel like homework. You could still enjoy it, but it wasn't that much to get in or to soak up. But now with Disney Plus and all the gajillion TV shows
Yeah.
And I don't know how many, since I don't even know if Marvel's doing phases anymore now, since they've thrown up the Hail Mary, because they had to get rid of Kang because of what happened with what's his face that was playing Kang. So they had to jettison him off, and then they had to, rearrange all their chickens and put them in different baskets and whatnot. So I don't know what's going on in terms of their strategy, but it's just super. Yeah, WandaVision was the only great show that they did. Otherwise,
Well,
they
see,
quit trying
that
after
was the thing. I didn't watch WandaVision.
that.
Okay, so when I remember when uh, Doctor Strange 2 came out,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what the hell was going on because
Right.
I didn't watch WandaVision. So thankfully, my nieces were there to explain to me during the movie what was happening, and they did the same thing with Thor: Love and Thunder too. With
Mm-hmm.
with some of the, and I didn't know because I didn't watch, like, I think somebody said that, like, I have to watch Loki to understand this movie,
Yeah,
Daredevil.
I'm gonna touch on that a
Okay,
little bit in my review,
okay,
but
yeah.
it's not a necessity. It would
Oh,
help you
okay,
understand it a little better, but yeah, there's touches of that. But what happened was they went from being able to understand the previous movie to the next movie and understand the storyline with you could still get the storyline of the movie, but you'd have a better understanding of the overarching universe if you saw all of the movies. But then it became like you wouldn't understand the entire plot of the movie if you didn't watch like WandaVision. If you didn't watch WandaVision, you wouldn't understand how Scarlet Witch became what she is in that movie from what she was in, say, Endgame.
right, okay.
You'd be completely lost. You'd be like, well, what the hell happened? And they can explain it. They can do a little bit of um you know uh what do you call it?
Sean, can you phase me out because I had to go to the bathroom? Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no problem. Yeah, but you could still understand what was going on, and now they throw in something like um a little bit of explanation or whatever, but it still isn't enough for you to understand the entire movie. Thanks, Victor. Yeah. John had a comment too. You would think Von Doom would be introduced in the Fantastic Four, but they're probably going to ruin that. So maybe this is for the best. Yeah, I don't know how they're going to do that. Like maybe they will introduce Von Doom in Fantastic Four, but not reveal that he's Robert Downey Jr. I don't know. At this point, I have lost track of what movie comes when. I just know that Brave New World comes next in February, and that's all I know. I don't even know what's going on. I've completely lost track. Victor says, I've said it to friends of mine, but the MCU used to feel like films. Now it feels like the longest TV show in the world. Exactly. Yeah, and it's hard too for new fans to come in because if you want to bring somebody into, like, a perfect example is my wife. I would love to get her into the MCU, but trying to introduce her, you have to go back to 2008 and watch like 25 films or whatever it is. This is longer than The Simpsons. Yeah. You'd have to watch 25 films and then sort of pick and choose whether or not you introduce her to some of the TV shows or not. And I haven't watched all of the TV shows. I've watched some of them. Um, I watched WandaVision, which was good. I watched um, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which a lot of people didn't like, and I did like. Um, and what the hell else did I watch? I watched the first season of Loki. I didn't watch the second season, and I think it's the only one that came back for a second season. I think I can't even remember that. So they've made it damn near impossible for new people to get on board and really get everything without making a huge investment in time. So I don't know how they expect people to do that, but I don't know. I really think though that this is like a super Hail Mary with Robert Downey Jr. Coming on board. And that's one of the things that the guys in Red Letter Media said too, that they they alluded to that with some editing. But I don't know. I'm actually starting to get more excited about the DC stuff with James Gunn and what he's got planned than I am with the MCU, only because it's a new start and a new beginning, and because they filmed a lot of the new Superman movie around my area. So I got to see some quick glimpses of what's to come, which was kind of neat. They filmed some of the new Superman movie literally 10 minutes from my house, which was pretty cool, on a beach at one of the local swimming places. And I don't know if they intend to keep it as a beach or if they were going to make it into a desert scene. Like they may throw some matte paintings or computer or green screen stuff or who knows what. But it'll be interesting. And I just grew a dog on my head. Yeah, Star Wars is different. Victor says, "Say what you will about the quality of Star Wars projects after the Disney buyout. At least they make projects that feel standalone." I think uh, Star Wars fans tend to be a lot less forgiving, I think, than Marvel fans, and a lot more hardcore about stuff. So I don't know. Star Wars is a lot easier to jump into and parse things out because you can jump around the universe and everything doesn't have to be connected. I don't know. It doesn't have to be connected in Marvel either, but they seem to do that a lot. Like they always want to tie everything in, even like adjacent. And I'm not. I feel like I'm not explaining that very well. But Star Wars is very easy to can drop somebody in the Star Wars universe and say, okay, this takes place in the Outer Rim or whatever, and just say it takes place in the Star Wars universe, and it doesn't. You don't have to bump into Han Solo or bump into Luke Skywalker, even though they always seem to do that. I saw some of the photos of the new Superman movie shooting, and I like how they're filming a lot of it outdoors, which is nice. Yeah, that is true. A lot of the stuff that they filmed here in Cleveland was outside. They did film. Uh, they filmed on Headlands Beach here in the Cleveland area. They also filmed in downtown Cleveland, and that was mostly outside. I don't know if they filmed anything inside, but that was harder to see from an external perspective. Kenny, when you're ready, give me a thumbs up. All right.
Sorry, I've been dealing with a sour stomach. I'll just put it that way.
Oh, no problem.
So I've been dealing with it since we had our Bible study today. So I've been dealing with that since I got home. Thank God that I didn't have that during that. But since I got home, and I thought I backed it up a little bit with KO Pectate, but I felt like a little literally rumble when you said that. And it was just like, gotta go.
Hey, so, that's quite all right.
So I apologize, guys. Sorry about
that. We just sort of detoured into a little bit out of the MCU stuff, and we're talking about the new Superman movie and how I was saying I'm actually kind of more excited for what's coming up with the new DC stuff.
Yeah.
Than I am the new Marvel stuff, which seems kind of crazy to say.
That wraps on Saturday, by the way, the Superman movie.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, I read that today. I was going to shoot it over to you before the show started, but I figured we'd talk about that.
Okay.
And yeah, Saturday's the last, and then they start filming the next DC thing.
Okay.
And they're both coming out in 2025.
Yeah.
They didn't say what quarter, but I'm probably
I
thinking summer.
I know Superman is scheduled to come out in July of
Oh,
2025.
okay.
Yeah, based on what they've said while they were here. Yeah, Victor says that he highly recommends A Quiet Place day one. He just finished it. I haven't seen the second one yet, so I haven't watched the third.
Yeah, I've seen the first one. I haven't seen the second one. I have it from. Thank you, Mr. Alf, not a sponsor. But if you go on Whatnot, go to Alfster Cards.
Yep.
Highly recommend him.
Yep.
So
Cards.
I got that from him.
Yeah, Alfster Cards has saved me a lot of money over the last 6 months.
Yes.
Big time.
And there's some movies that there's some movies that you just take a shot on, like Madam Web. I would have never spent $30 or whatever $20 on that on Blu-ray.
No.
$6. Okay.
Yeah, for $6 I'll take a chance on Madam Web, not for 26 or whatever the hell they're charging. But yeah, that's Alfster Cards, not a sponsor.
Yeah.
Not a sponsor. Tubi, not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor. Looking for them though.
Yeah. Victor made a comment about that earlier. He said that where did it go? Oh, in the comments. He said something about we have a better shot of getting Tubi as a sponsor before FanDuel.
Oh yeah. Victor, we're both not gamblers, so the only thing I gamble on is buying like a DVD I never heard of or a movie I never heard of from like Hamilton Book, not a sponsor. But if $5 DVD or something like that, I've never got into I was never a big gambler.
Yeah,
never seen the like of it.
See, even Victor knows Alf, so
he's already
been converted. So we're preaching to the converted here already.
Yeah, and Civil War, that's a very good movie too. Mm-hmm. I did watch that. That is very good.
Yep. I went to the theater to see that, but I did get a copy of it from Alf.
You think Kirsten Dunst will get a nomination for that? Maybe Golden Globe?
I think she has a better shot of getting a Golden Globe than an Oscar, but I don't know. It kind of came out early, so
yeah.
Unless the studio really champions her or markets that performance to the critics, I don't know that she'll get much of a push.
I thought that was one of her best ones since the first Spider-Man, but I really, really enjoyed her performance in that. The scene where she's trying on the dress in the shop,
mm-hmm.
and the young girl's trying to take her picture, and she said, "Smile." She just stands there, and she sees everything that's going on outside.
Yep.
I thought that was really good.
Yeah, that's a rough movie to watch, especially with everything that's going on.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's a good movie, though. It is really good. It like I said, when I saw it, I was expecting something else, but it still delivered.
Yeah.
It's just not what I was expecting it to be. So really, really good movie. All right. Any other movie news that you caught, Kenny, that we want to talk about?
Not really. Everything was basically like the MCU stuff and the Downey reveal and how much money Deadpool's making, and that's basically it. Then personally for you, I seen on Saturday was the last day of filming for Superman, because that's being filmed near you. So
that they moved that down to Cincinnati.
Oh, okay.
They wrapped in Cleveland 2 weeks ago. I think it was. Yeah, and then they moved down to Cincinnati. So, and I don't know if they moved away from Cincinnati after they were done there and were doing any more filming, but I know they had 2 or 3 weeks scheduled in Cincinnati. And And I know there's a building down in Cincinnati that looks like the Hall of Justice. I wonder if they
Okay.
they filmed in front of that for any reason. But that's kind of interesting. I'm gonna have to find that. I'm just taking a look here to see if there's anything that we missed. No, nothing big. Oh, Twisters is coming back to 4DX theaters soon. So
okay.
if you have a Regal near you in a 4DX, you can see Twisters in 4DX soon.
Are you surprised how well that's done in the theaters?
Yes, and that probably would have been the top story if we would have had a show last week.
Yeah.
I would have eaten my hat live on the air.
I would have eaten the hat too. Because I really didn't think I really thought that was like that, like Victor said about the MCU. I thought it was desperation. I thought it was just a money grab.
Yeah, I thought it was going to bomb. I thought it was the most unnecessary movie that was going to be released this year, to be honest. Just totally, like, why is it even being released? It looks like the same movie, at least from the early trailers. Now I have to say that they did change the trailers more recently, closer to release, to change it up a little bit so it didn't look like an exact carbon copy of the original movie.
Right.
Yeah, Victor said, I knew it was going to be successful mainly because of Glenn Powell's star power. See, that's one thing that kind of went over my head. I underestimated him.
I had no idea who the hell Glenn Powell was. I really didn't. I don't think I've ever watched him in a movie. Or if I did, I didn't know it was Glenn Powell.
Yeah.
But apparently he's like the male version of Zendaya. You know, like everybody is talking about him and the other girl that everybody likes, Mia Goth.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Jim.
Hey, Jim. Yeah. So it's like these stars are just like, I don't know like any of the young stars. And so,
yeah, we're getting old, Kenny. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem.
We don't have our finger on the pulse of the young people anymore.
No.
But no, I knew he was in Maverick, and I knew he was in that Anyone But You, but I hadn't seen that yet. And I knew he was in Hitman, but I didn't see that either. But right. I didn't know anything about him, and I didn't know that he had much of an audience or any pull as far as the box office went.
Now, who did he? I've seen Maverick a couple times. Who did he play? The young fighter pilot, like, because Goose's son was Miles Teller.
Yeah.
So,
let's see. He played.
Jim said if he put the finger on the pulse of youth, he'd be arrested. that right there is the comment of the night. That's awesome. That's fantastic, Jim.
Oh, that's right. Thanks, Jim. He played the pilot who saved their ass at the end.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Sorry if we spoiled it for you, but
sorry.
It's been out for 2 years. Hangman, the other guy that feuded with.
Oh, okay. So he was basically the Val Kilmer character.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I couldn't remember the character's name. I've only seen it once, so. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much for your help. See, that's why we love the audience here. Thank you, guys.
Jim says that's
because us old out of touch guys don't know nothing. We're still talking about Goose.
I didn't see the original Top Gun until I was in college.
Shut up! Are you kidding me?
I had no interest in seeing it until I saw it in a film class in college. That the teacher said, this is a Navy recruitment film, and basically nitpicked it to death for everything that was wrong with it in terms of, the fact that they didn't wear their masks in the cockpit, and, all the different things they did wrong, and just
Okay.
yeah.
Jim, you're a youngster like we are, dude. You're right in our our
Yeah, you're right in our
right in
target audience.
our target audience. Oh God, I went to see. I remember I went to see that, and I had my hair in wings. Like the part in the wings and stuff like that. And I remember coming home from seeing it with my friends from high school. And I said to Mom, I want to look like this. And I showed her a picture of Tom Cruise, and she goes, "Sweetie, it's not going to happen." And I'm like, "No, Mom, the haircut." So
Yeah.
I went down to my friend I went to a Votech school, and she cut my hair. So I said, "Steph, I want my hair looking like this." And she goes, "Gotcha." So when I came back to school, I had the wet look, as they called it, the spiky hair, but it was called the wet look. So Steph always took it. Steph's not watching, but she took care of me all through high school, getting my haircuts and stuff like that.
That's funny.
But yeah.
Yeah, Jim said that the Air Force admissions went up after Top Gun, and Marine enlistments went up after Rambo: First Blood Part 2 of all things.
Oh,
But the funny thing is, the pilots in the Top Gun movies aren't the Air Force; they're in the Navy.
Well, we're stupid kids. We don't know the difference.
We see planes, we think Air Force. What do we know?
Exactly. Oh, I remember seeing Rambo in the movie theater, and I think I was like 15 when I went to see that. It was like 14 or 15, and all these like Vietnam vets were in the audience. We went opening night, and they're like standing up yelling, "Kill them, son of a bitches!" And I'm just like sitting here, and I'm like, "We're gonna die, dude."
Yeah.
They're like really like they were like ushers were coming down and checking everybody, and they were just like clapping at the end.
Yeah.
That's when you had like really like enthusiasm about a movie, because you didn't have like about 8 million channels to watch, or they weren't streaming. You always went to the theater for that experience, and I've had a couple of those experiences.
Well, I don't want to turn this into another old man yelling at the cloud episode, but I think back then we didn't have people sitting at home watching movies on streaming. And then also when people went out in public, it wasn't about them. It was about the experience.
Yeah.
So anytime I have a bad experience at a movie theater now with people, it's always because they're trying to do something for social media and record themselves on a phone.
Yes.
Because I went with my wife to see Jaws in 3D about a year ago, and there were a bunch of morons down in the front recording TikTok videos with the light on their phones. And I'm like, really? Seriously? Why are you in here? And then I had a bad experience with a bunch of kids at Godzilla -1 Color that I've talked about, and they were recording themselves trying to piss me off. That I'm probably on TikTok somewhere flipping these kids off. But there wasn't any of that. It wasn't about you. It was about us. Everybody was there for the thing. I remember seeing a trailer for, I think it was Star Trek 5 of all things. And I think it was a trailer for Star Trek 5. We were going to see, I think Lethal Weapon 3, if that lines up. I don't know. I can't remember, but I just remember the crowd was reacting to a trailer and they were laughing their ass off, and the place was packed. And that's the kind of atmosphere I miss from theaters. But I was encouraged. I was at that same party I was talking about earlier, and I met a guy there who is 21. He's an intern where my wife works, and he said that he loves going to the movies. He loves the atmosphere of going to the movies. So
cool.
A lot of people are talking about how, young people don't like to go to the movies anymore, and they don't like to watch movies. He was like, "Oh, I love going to the movies. I love the atmosphere. I love it. It's great. I like watching movies with a lot of people." So there's still hope. There's still hope for there's still hope for mankind. Victor says a much younger but still cranky guy. I just think people now post-COVID don't know how to act in public. Yeah, that's a big part of it too.
Yeah.
That's a big part of it. That seems to be a regular theme here on the show where we talk about how people don't know how to act in public, and we're the old and cranky guys. Do we have to change the name of the show?
I think we're two cranky guys.
Talking movies by
Yeah,
two cranky
talking
guys.
movies with two 50 plus guys.
Two cranky white guys.
Yeah.
Okay, but oh yeah, okay. So Star Trek 5 came out as Lethal Weapon 2, 1989. So I don't think it was 1989. Yeah, it might have been. Yeah, 1989. That was what it. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, Lethal Weapon 2. Thanks, Jim. Jim's our stats guy.
Yeah, Jim and Victor, thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
Every time I hear 1989, all I can think of is the Public Enemy song. 1989, another sucker, another. From like Do the Right, the beginning of Do the Right Thing.
I've seen that movie, but it's been at least 10 years.
Oh, okay, yeah. There's like a theme, and Rosie Perez is, as the kids say, banging.
Yeah,
locking it and stuff like that.
Can you do that again? I want to.
That's the old white man dance.
Oh, that's so funny. I don't know what's going on, Jim. I don't. Are you seeing this, Kenny, or the comments from Jim repeating?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it came up like once like that. And it's like.
Yeah, Jim. I used to.
No,
what?
You're fine, Jim. Thank you.
Yeah, I used to work at a theater, and I used to be able to remember shit. And now I can't remember anything. So it's fine. I lose track in the middle of a sentence, so don't worry about it. If Victor says the last time we heard an audience be so enthusiastic about a trailer was when I saw Age of Ultron in IMAX 3D, and the second trailer for Force Awakens made the audience clap.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which was pre-COVID.
Yep. I remember when we went to see when they released the original 3 before the sequels hit. Like I think it was 97. They put out Star Wars again like that.
Special editions.
Yeah. People were like standing up in the audience and clapping, and I was one of those dumbasses like standing up and clapping. Oh, yeah. And my brother's like, "Will you sit down? Like it's Star Wars." And I'm up like clapping, like. Even at the when the Star Wars boom comes up like that, people were like clapping and reading the scroll. People were like literally reading the scroll out loud.
Yeah.
And then when at the end when they get their medals and stuff, and it goes directed by George Lucas, it comes up. People were standing up. I mean, literally standing up and clapping. So I mean, that was like my brother turned to me because my brother's like geeky like I am with it, you know. And he just goes, this was like 300, Kennys in the audience, because they were all enthusiastic, and clapping for everything. But
I went to a screening of The Force Awakens that was put on by the Greater Cleveland Film Commission.
Oh, neat.
In when did that come out? Good Lord.
99?
No, The Force Awakens.
Oh, okay.
Man, I can't even remember that. Huh.
Oh.
But it was the day before it was released to the general public, so I got to see it like a day early. And that crowd was crazy enthusiastic. But we didn't get to see any trailers or anything before the movie started.
Oh, okay.
But they were riffing on everything in the movie. So I had a really positive experience seeing that movie with a room full of people who were there to see the movie. And that was probably the best experience I've had seeing a movie recently. But again, it was pre-COVID. And I don't know, I can't think of a post-COVID like really good experience that I've had. But every time I've gone to the movies since COVID, there haven't been that many people there. There haven't been any really packed theaters.
Yeah, I mean, the last one that I've been to was Guardians 3.
Yeah,
and I've told that story about that for you just joining us. We went and it was like a 10 o'clock showing, 9:30, 10 o'clock showing, and we were the seven of us were the only people in the movie theater.
Yeah.
Nobody at the concession stands, and I didn't realize they didn't have a ticket counter because my nieces picked up the tickets.
Mm-hmm.
And there was literally nobody. There was like five people behind the popcorn, you know.
Yep.
And I didn't realize that. And we had got out, and they had like a late. This is when Fast 10 had just came out in the theater, and I turned to my cousin. I said, "You want to go see Fast 10? There ain't nobody in here. We can go sneak in and get it." And she goes, "No, we got to get up to tomorrow." You know, so it was like, and I'm like, old people, you know, kind of. I said that to her, but there was like literally nobody in there. And I mean, even in the theater when we went to see, I mean, there were seven of us. There might have been like maybe 30 people tops to see that on a Saturday night. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's very, very strange. I don't know. Jim said that I've gone to the theater my entire life. In addition to working there since COVID, I've only seen 3 movies theatrically. I'm assuming that's Avatar 2, John Wick 4, and the newest Godzilla movie.
Yeah, I wish I would have seen that Godzilla movie in the theater. I really would have loved to have seen that in the theater.
Yeah, that was something in the theater. I've been going to the movies pretty regularly. But I wouldn't do that. I have the Regal Unlimited.
Oh, okay.
So I just drop in at the Regal and, you know, just scan myself in and go. So I don't have to worry about, you know, having the money because it's already paid for.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, when you get those passes, do they give you like free ones that like I hear there's one guy that I follow on the Instagram. I don't know his name, but he goes, and I think it might be AMC. I'm not really sure, but he's like always in front of a poster like out in front of the movie, and some of them are like they'll tell you to show up on like Thursday at 8:00, and it's like a brand new movie that hasn't come out yet. And I guess maybe they're trying the projector to make sure that they got.
Oh yeah,
so,
that could be an employee showing or a theater showing.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if they did like secret movies because I know like in the past people have said, "Oh yeah, I see." Because there was one that my friend went to see. He went to see. I forget which. I'll just make up. I'll say Three Amigos or something like that. Okay, he went.
Very
he
current
went to see
movie.
that. Yeah, and when he got there, they said, "Hey, do you want to go to a test screening?"
Oh, okay.
For a new movie, and he was like, "Yeah." And the test screening was the Kevin Costner Criminal.
Okay,
movie, Criminal.
Yeah. So there's a couple of different things. They have mystery screenings where you will go in and see a movie and you don't know what it is.
Yeah, thank you. That's basically what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do that. So Regal will do those. They do mystery movies on Mondays as part of their Regal Unlimited thing. So you can go and on a Monday at like 7:30 or 8:00 or whatever it is, you can go and you get a ticket, but you don't know what the movie is. It literally says mystery movie on the ticket. I've gone to a few of those. I saw Arthur the King that way. I saw Paint that way. I saw Sisu that way.
Oh, okay.
But also in bigger cities, well, I live in Cleveland, but before I moved to Cleveland, I thought it was unusual. They do press screenings, so they'll invite critics to come and watch the movies so they can do their reviews. So sometimes I could drop in on those because I was a theater manager and I would see the movies early. But that's not for the general public. And then they would do promotional screenings where they would show a movie and they would tell people what it is. ahead of time, but you had to get there first come first serve, and it was
Oh,
free.
okay.
But you weren't guaranteed a shot. So they would say, like, okay, on Thursday night at 8:00, we're going to show, because we would do them in my theater all the time, like Napoleon Dynamite. Be here at 7:30 Thursday night, and the first whatever amount of people that we can fit in the door will get in to see it for free.
Gotcha.
And sometimes they'll give away merchandise and stuff. It's just to build word of mouth for the film. So there's a number of different ways they do that. So. And then as far as, what Jim's talking about in the comments about projectionists, very few theaters use projectionists anymore, but they still they'll test out like the hard drive or the copy that they get to make sure that the codes work, because they'll get a code to unlock the disc or whatever. And basically it's just an excuse to watch the movie before anybody else. So
that's smart.
Yeah, very few theaters actually use a projectionist anymore. Yeah, it's all automated now in the booth. I found my projectionist license the other day.
Did you really?
Yeah, I still have it. I was forced to become a licensed projectionist in the city of Cleveland because they were mad that we weren't members of the projectionist union. So we had to be licensed. So Sisu, awesome movie. If you haven't seen it, see it. Have you seen it, Kenny?
No, I was just going to say I have not seen that yet. It's on my list. It's on my list for Mr. Alf. So when he gets it, I'll hopefully get it.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to get that one. That's probably not one that he would get.
Oh, okay.
Because if he hasn't gotten it yet, he probably
it's been on my list for a while, and then because I even said to him one time when he got like a couple copies, I messaged him. And
did he get it?
He had got it, and he gave it to a couple other people, and he goes, I was really, with him, he's like, he doesn't see everybody's messages,
right?
You know what I mean? So he goes, "Oh, I really apologize." He goes, "As soon as I get a copy, you'll be my first one."
Okay.
So yeah, it's literally still on my list. On my list.
Yeah. I'll look see if I can find a cheap copy for you, because I think the chances of him getting it are pretty
Oh,
slim.
okay. Thank you. Yeah, I've been looking for it like on the eBay and stuff like that, and it's still like over like $21.
Yeah, I don't think it's a boutique movie really, but it's one of those ones that's probably.
I was going to ask if it was like one of those A24 ones, because those A24 ones people go gaga over.
I don't remember who put it out, because it was definitely a smaller studio, I think. Let's see.
Those A24. Oh, okay.
Lionsgate.
Those A24 are very acquired taste movies.
Yeah.
Because I have Max, and they have A24 Studios, and there's some of them that people like absolutely love these movies, and I watched them, and like I know you love Dream Theory with Nicolas Cage.
Dream Scenario, yeah.
Dream Scenario. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Oh, I'm thinking of the song. The group.
Oh, Dream Theater.
Yeah. No. Dream Academy.
Life in the Northern.
Oh, wah 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 wah. That song. You know why that came? I listen to iHeartRadio, not a sponsor, on my app. So that song had just came on, earlier today. Life in a Northern Town. So
that's one you don't hear too much anymore.
No, it's just on iHeartRadio. If you have the app for it, it's their Lost 80s channel, and they play like really cool stuff that you used to hear, like we're getting off on it again, but the Motels, like Suddenly Last Summer, and they played Only the Lonely. They played Scandal. They played like early Cheap Trick stuff, like Dream Police and stuff like that. Stuff that you don't hear like every day, like on the radio.
Yeah,
or like the 80s channels. So it's like sort of like deep cuts. They
that's
even,
cool.
I smiled because they even played Cars, and I thought of you because you like Gary Newman.
Oh yeah.
So they played Cars the other day, and I was like, I just smiled. I'm like, where's Sean at?
Jim says a lot of those songs from the 80s are lost for a reason, buddy. I
Come on,
like those
Jim.
songs. Come on.
It's better than that shit they play today. My buddy was just at Sammy Hagar. Sammy Hagar was just in town in New Jersey, South
Mm-hmm.
Jersey, and he showed me a picture, and I said, because he's the same age as me, young spry 55, and now we can do the Sammy Hagar. I can't drive 55.
There you
We
go.
are 55, but everybody when they were coming out, everybody had their phones out. Before they used to hold out the lighters,
Yep.
Now everybody's got the phones out to capture the experience. But
Yep.
but
Yep. I went to see I think I was talking to you while I was there. I went to see a Swiss metal band.
Yes. How was that?
It was awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, I may be 56, but I still go see metal bands. And Burning Witches were playing at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame on a Friday night, and she even told everybody, get out your phones,
Did
put them
you
up.
really?
Yeah, and
Cool.
everybody had their phones out to with the lights and everything. So that was pretty cool. Yeah. Jim says, I have to agree with you. I don't like today's music either. Now on the next episode of Grumpy Old Men.
Yeah, seriously.
We may have to change the.
I think we're gonna have to change the name to Grumpy Old Men, and face plant our faces on the Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon things.
I think I know what I'm doing this weekend.
Yeah, there you go. And we can call each other putzes and morons.
There you go.
Putz, moron. Jim, I was telling Sean before the show. Did you ever see Out to Sea with Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau? It's one of my favorites. Jim's going to be a special guest.
You're only a year older than me, so don't get too excited.
Got 2 years on me, Grandpa.
If you ever see me looking down over here, we were talking about this earlier, Kenny. If you ever see me looking down over here, down here, or moving my hand down here, I'm constantly visited by a bevy of animals. I own two dogs and 3 cats, and they periodically come in and visit. So they all stop in for pets. So if you ever see me down here looking, I have a cat visiting me right now. Coconut is visiting me for pets. And then, as you saw, I have a dog behind me right here sleeping. So yeah, it's not me just waving my hand around.
Yeah, he doesn't have like bad circulation in his arms or anything. He's actually petting his pets.
Yeah, I actually have a cat here.
Yeah,
friggin' Siri, what happened, Jim? I don't want to know. Well, we're past the top of the hour. So let's get into our topic for tonight, which was the hidden treasures. So we talked about from flops to cult classics last week, and we kind of unearthed a couple that we wanted to talk about, which were Frailty and Nightbreed.
Yes.
So let's talk about Frailty first.
Okay.
What did you think of Frailty, Kenny?
That really surprised me. I really enjoyed it. And like we were talking about, didn't know that Bill Paxton actually directed that movie.
Yeah.
That one really shocked me because I was just like, why didn't anybody bring that? Because I was telling Sean in the comments earlier in the week about it. I always got that confused with a movie called Beastly.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even realize that Matthew McConaughey was in it because in the late 90s, they always had like those, like, like Dawson's Creek kind of, actors,
Yeah.
like the soap opera stars in these with like the hot, like, like Katie Holmes or Vanessa Hutchins kind of people. And they were like, really good looking kids, but they couldn't act worth shit. So it was like, I always thought Frailty, I always got that confused with Beastly. I never seen Beastly. It's on Tubi, not a sponsor. I will have to check that out to see, because if it was anything like Frailty, I'll really like look forward to checking that out. But I thought Paxton did a really, rest in peace, my man. He did a really good job on that, and that's a movie that you don't hear people talking about these
No.
days.
No, definitely not. I echo the same thing. And not only was it was a surprise that he was the director, but it was very well directed as well.
Yes.
I thought it was amazing. There was such a great atmosphere in the movie. Just a really sort of like a dread filled atmosphere. And I really felt for the kid, Fenton. He just
Yeah.
wakes up one morning or wakes up one night and his dad has basically lost his marbles. And tells him he's on a mission from God, basically, and he's got to go kill people. So that was kind of related to that, and I know that doesn't have to do with Bill Paxton's directing so much, but the way he was able to convey that, in the way that, it's the way the framing was and the way the lighting was. And I don't know. I was really, yeah, really, really taken by just the construction of it. And that's what I was going to say. Jim just said Frailty is awesome. Rest in peace, Powers Booth and Bill Paxton. Powers Booth was really good in it.
Yeah.
Him and the scenes with Matthew McConaughey, but Bill Paxton was outstanding
Yes. With
in
those
this.
kids.
Yeah, his performance was chilling, just absolutely chilling, and just super creepy and super convincing.
What broke my heart is he locks his one son up, the oldest son,
Mm-hmm.
in this like in this barnyard, like kind of like basement where like
Mm-hmm.
there's steps there. And the one that actually I literally cried at was when the youngest brother was, pouring the water in this little hole
Yeah,
so his
that little
brother
pothole.
could drink something, and it
Yeah,
just like broke me. You're sitting there, and it's like, I was never abused or as a kid or anything like that, but man, you can just like, your heart goes out to this kid because he didn't do anything. His dad's just lost his mind.
yeah,
And he basically, the whole thing is, he locked this kid in there for 2 weeks until God spoke to him.
right. Yeah, yeah, and
And
yeah, I don't want to spoil anything from the movie because I
yeah,
definitely want people to watch it. But absolutely, Jim said he's happy we not only watched it but we also enjoyed it.
yeah,
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. By far, but his dad does not lose his mind. He was actually killing demons. Um, I don't want to touch on that because I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. Because I don't want to give an interpretation
but
of the
even the
ending.
scenes that Sean said about how they were setting up the shots,
Mm-hmm.
but just the camera work when they went down the steps,
Yep.
and all you could see was highlighted the first 4 steps,
Mm-hmm.
and just and it had like just everything that was going on with there. You could hear the water dropping.
Yep.
And just how dark everything was. And you could tell because they were basically, the kid was in a barn, like a basement barn, like in there. And it's pitch black because they're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, that was the basement under the shed that they moved.
Yeah.
He had Fenton dig that, what was it, 10-foot by 10-foot hole or something.
Yeah.
And it took him, I forget how long it took him to dig it, but he refused to wear his gloves just despite his dad.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
his
just
hands were all tore up.
Yeah, just little stuff like that. I really think this movie was a victim of its own marketing, only speaking from my experience, which was that I had no idea what the movie was about, even though I had heard of it. Um, I think I was telling Kenny maybe last episode, um, that we had a poster for it in my theater, and I knew it was out. I knew it was sort of a horror movie, but I thought it had to do with some sort of like Amish thing or something. I had no idea what it was about. I don't think I ever saw a trailer for it. Um, I had no clue what it was about. And then I would hear people talking about it, and it was more or less that they didn't know what it was about either. So I think people were just confused and didn't see it. But once you see it, it's really impossible to ignore how good it is. It's
Yeah,
really good.
you're so right
Um,
about that.
I think the weakest part of the movie though is the third act, the quote unquote twist, which I'm not going to get into.
Yeah,
But I think that hurt it a little bit, but it still didn't ruin the experience for me. I still like the movie, even though that kind of injured it a little bit in my mind, but it didn't ruin the movie.
yeah,
I kind of half expected something to happen like that because um, things were just going too smoothly and too, too, you know, um, too well between Powers Booth and Matthew McConaughey, for something not to happen. But I won't get into that. So
there's another little cool little twist with the where Matthew McConaughey works, where he worked.
yeah,
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 that's all I'm going to say. There was a
yeah,
nice, cool twist with that too.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
but yeah, that
That
I gave it 4 out. I gave it 4 out of 5 Whoppers. I thought it was very well done, and I can't like. I think that's what a lot of these, like you had said, they got mismarketed, and the poster wouldn't draw me in.
mm,
You know, I don't know what other poster they could have done, but if you're going to market a movie with Matthew McConaughey, you just want to see his face on there, and it was just the face was darkened. If you've seen the movie poster
yeah, I'm
for
gonna
it.
bring it up.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it's like I mean, he's a good-looking guy, so you want to, you don't want this face. You want McConaughey's face on the marketing, a product, and with that, it was just all dark, you know. But I really thought it was, yeah. There you go.
Yeah, so this is all I saw about it, and it was no soul is safe, and I couldn't really make out what that was, and so this is all I saw. I had no idea what it was, so um,
Yeah, but
I didn't.
I didn't know that was Matthew McConaughey until I watched when the credits
Right.
came up. Because that could have been like one of the, you know, like I always say like the Dawson's Creek kind of actors. Like
Right.
like the actors that they had like in the late '90s, early 2000s from CW shows that you never heard of. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah, and welcome back, Jim. Sorry.
Welcome back, Jim.
Um, yeah, I just think that was just maybe a victim of bad timing. I don't know. I know this was released in 2001. Let me see when the release date was. If it was in late 2001, a lot of good movies sort of got.
Swallowed up by 9/11.
Yeah, oh no, it says release date was 2000 April of 2002.
Oh, okay.
So, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it was just came out in the summertime, but it got a very small release. But then he barely any advertising at all. Yeah, I all I saw was a poster, and that's all I saw.
Yeah, I just remember seeing it at the video store next to that. It looked like it just reminded me of Beastly, uh, the cover, and it just didn't appeal to me, you know.
Just for shits and giggles, I'm going to pull up the cover of Beastly. Just,
Oh, okay. Yeah, it has like one of those like CW guys with Vanessa Hudgens right next to it. So, because even I seen it and I'm like, it doesn't look anything like it. But if you're in a video store and it's like right beside each other, you know, I don't know.
is that the one?
No, it's sort of like the one, but it has yeah. See, that's the main poster, and then Beastly was like and like the tagline was like right in front of him. But yeah, I didn't know it was Matthew McConaughey, and at that time,
Yeah.
at that time, McConaughey wasn't like the big actor he is now, because
Right.
you know he was still doing the rom coms with Kate Hudson. You know, roll out your It Girl of 2004. Or something like that.
Yeah.
Sarah Jessica Parker. He wasn't
How to
Matthew McConaughey yet.
was it how to lose a guy in 10 days or whatever?
Yeah,
That kind of
that was
stuff.
that was a cute movie with Kate Hudson. Then he did Sahara, Fool's Gold. You know,
Yeah.
every bad rom com of those early 2000s.
Yeah.
He was
That's what I
basically.
remember him from. I can't even remember when he sort of switched into my consciousness as something other than that. But it took a while. It
Yeah,
took a while.
I just remember him being in like because my mom used to like all those, like even the bad Nazi guy from Schindler's List was in Made in Manhattan with J Lo.
Ray Fiennes?
Yeah, Ray Fiennes was in Made in Manhattan. And I turned to my mom. I said, "This guy was in Schindler's List," and she heard of the movie, but she didn't watch it. I'm like, this guy was a bad Nazi, and he's like,
Wait,
a
wait, she
rich
heard of Schindler's
aristocrat,
List and didn't see it?
huh?
She heard of Schindler's List and didn't see it?
Yeah,
Or okay. Or
yeah.
Made in Manhattan and didn't see it.
Oh no! Oh, we watched that every time
Okay,
that was
okay.
on
That's
the
what I
cable.
thought, but I just wanted
Oh
to check.
yeah. Oh
Okay.
God, I watched that so many times. Because anytime it was on TNT or TBS or something like that, man, we watched that. And I even owned a copy of it somewhere around here.
Oh geez.
Yeah, I think that'll go to the Goodwill because I will never watch that again. I swear, there's like so many of those movies that. Oh, the other one that she liked was Monster in Law with
Oh yeah.
Jane
Yeah.
Fonda and J Lo.
Yep.
And see, there's the other guy that kind of looked like Matthew McConaughey, the guy from Alias that was married to Jennifer Garner, Michael Verdan or Wharton.
Hmm.
He kind of looked like McConaughey, and that's when they were like running like he would have a movie come out this Friday, then McConaughey, and they would kind of trade off on like the rom coms,
Yeah. 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 Us
Yeah,
old
I
guys
think
talk about Rafe from Schindler's List, but younger people think of him from Voldemort from Harry Potter movies.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, our demographic, we think of him as the mean guy in Schindler's List, but like you said, the
Yeah.
younger people are Voldemort.
He doesn't have a nose for some people.
Yeah.
All right. What do we think about Nightbreed, Kenny?
Nightbreed. I'll give you a. I remember I seen it. I really liked it. I was in love with that girl in Nightbreed. Aaron Boone's girlfriend in it. I loved her. Ann Bobby is her
Mm-hmm.
name. I was absolutely star-crossed in love with her. I thought she was gorgeous. And quick story: I used to be a chef, and I came home one night, and I gave my brother and my buddy money to rent movies at the video store. So Nightbreed had just came out on video, so we watched it at 2:00 in the morning. Yes, 2:00 in the morning. That movie scared the living hell out of me, and I was like, "Wow!" But the girl, like, it was infatuated.
Yeah.
But it was a cool I wouldn't go out and buy it again. I gave it 3 out of 5,
Mm.
but I liked it because I think of my infatuation with Aunt Bobby. You know, more than I think Craig Schiffler did a great job in the role. I liked the story. There was like a lot of like cool scares in it.
Mm.
I liked it. I thought Cronenberg did a great job
Yep.
as the doctor in that.
Yeah.
I thought, and I think when I watched that again, I'm like, is that where they got the stranger's mask from?
Yeah. Yeah. I thought about that too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Big time. Yeah.
yeah.
And Jim wants to know which version did we watch? Did we watch the theatrical or the director's cut?
We watched
Based
the
on what you said,
director's.
when you watched the first time though, you watched the theatrical cut because
Yeah,
you
I
watched
watched the
it.
theatrical. Yeah,
Okay.
but this one on Tubi. These were both available. These are both available on Tubi, guys.
Right.
And we did watch the director's cut.
Yeah. I had never seen it before, so I watched the director's cut. This one I wasn't as enthusiastic about as I was Frailty. I really liked the premise. I just
Hmm.
wasn't as taken by the film as I was the story. I think it would have benefited from maybe being like a mini series, maybe because I wanted to know more about the backstory of what was it, Midian? Was
Midian.
that the name of it? Um, there seemed to be such like a rich history behind all that it seemed sort of crammed into this 2-hour movie that it felt kind of rushed and hurried and like I was missing something. Like, why is this all important? Um, like I just felt like I was missing something or like something was being left out that I wasn't quite getting. But I really appreciated the makeup and the prosthetic work and the
Yes.
special effects. The set design was amazing. Um, I didn't read Clive Barker is somebody who I've read some of his earlier works. Um, and I know the book that this came from was I think it's pronounced Cabal. Um, and I think it's a huge book.
Oh, okay.
If I'm thinking of the right book, and he's big on short stories, so I don't know if it's all about in that book, if that's all about this, but I have a feeling there's a lot more to it. Um, but yeah, the David Cronenberg was fantastic in it, and his mask was super cool.
Yeah.
I really, really liked that. I liked he was really into that character.
Hmm.
Um, Jim is saying he's saying a lot of things. He said he saw it theatrically at an empty theater, and what struck me about it then and now is the fact that it's the only horror movie in recent memory where the monsters are the good guys,
Yeah,
and
it's so
that is
true.
true. That is very true. And that's, I think, one of the reasons I wanted to know more about them and their culture and their whole thing. What's the name of the liquid that they had to?
Oh, wow.
I know you'll probably remember, Jim. Like I said, I can't remember anything 5 minutes after it happens, but
Yeah,
um, the la 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 la. I can't remember the name of it,
I can't either. I
but
should
it
have
was
wrote
sort of
it down.
like
I took
it's sort of like
notes.
their entity or their I don't not their deity or whatever um, that they were asking about as they were evacuating towards the end. I can't remember the name. Baphomet. That's it.
That's it. Thanks, Jim.
Um, yeah, and he says quite honestly, theatrically it felt epic, like the Star Wars of horror films. I know it's a very divisive film, but it's actually my favorite Clive Barker movie.
Fair enough. I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it,
No,
Jim. I just, it's been what 34 years. Yeah, it came out in '90.
yeah,
So,
I have to say that I wish I would have seen it when I was younger because I think I would have connected with it more. Um, just because I probably would have been more enthusiastic about something like that when I was younger. No, and I don't think you are taking any kind of offense, Jim. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Um, no, I'm glad I finally watched it because when I was working at Babbage's back in '99,
Oh my God,
and
that was a great store. That's a great pull right there,
yeah,
Babbage's.
remember Babbage's?
Yes.
I worked there for like a year, and one of my coworkers, Nightbreed was his favorite film, and he talked about it all the time, and he always tried to get me to watch it, and I just, for whatever reason, I just never did. But he always wanted to talk about it. He was super excited about it, and I feel bad that I didn't. I think if I would have watched it back then and would have been able to talk to him about it and kind of
Yeah.
gotten into it with him, I think I really would have enjoyed it a lot more because it would have been that enthusiasm and I would have had a back and forth with him about it. And we would have been able to exchange ideas about it and stuff. And, I could have got sort of that enthusiasm from him. But I really appreciated it and I enjoyed it. I just don't think I enjoyed it as much as I would have had I seen it when I was younger.
Yeah, you brought up a couple good points earlier about this. I think if this would have been a mini series, I think this would have been like a legend, like it is,
Mhm.
because I think they kind of like all the townspeople knew about Midian.
Yeah.
It's like when the girl that Anne Lori, I think her name was Lori. Yeah, I'll just call Ann Bobby. Um, Met at the bar. Everybody knew where Midian was. And
Mhm.
talking about Midian, and even when the doctor went to see the old guy um, at the like general store or something like that, and he was like kind of like brutalizing the old man, you know, and he
Mhm.
goes, "Nobody goes to Midian,"
Yeah.
like that, like that, and it was like they, and then it just seemed like okay, they're in Midian,
Yeah.
and it's just like I think if they would have taken their time and just gave like a layout in the people, it wasn't until like when the girl picked up the like it looked like a Muppet from Dark Crystal and gave it to the mom, and it was absorbing sunlight, and then it
Mhm.
turned into a real person when it got dark, you
Mhm.
know. And it was like I think they could have done more to tell the story and the backstory of Midian a little bit more than they did.
Yeah. I was surprised when they knew what Midian was
Yeah.
and they were aware of it because I was like, wait, they know what it is and they know, Jim just said, ain't nothing up there but dead folk.
Yeah, exactly. That
And I was like,
great
wait, you
line.
know what it is? And okay. And I was just kind of surprised. So it was unpredictable. Um, okay, Jim said that there's a series of Nightbreed comic books that's basically do everything you guys are asking for that he never got into
Oh,
himself.
okay. There you go.
But okay,
Thanks,
well,
Jim.
yeah, that would be interesting. I did want to touch on this one comment though, but he said Nightbreed fans are like Rush fans; they're very loyal and very vocal about why. By the way, I'm also a Rush fan. I'm a Rush fan too, so don't
I
don't.
remember I remember seeing Tom Sawyer on MTV for the first time, and
Mhm,
I had never heard of Rush before in my life
yeah,
until MTV. And I remember turning to my brother and go, "What the hell are we watching here?" And then we went out and got like 2112 and then moving pictures and stuff like that, so it was just like it made you a fan, so
yep,
I can appreciate with what you said about the comic books and stuff like
yeah.
that. But yeah.
I always have to throw in some sort of random movie or music thing in there. If you have Rush, what is it called? The Live in Cleveland recording 2011. I'm at that concert, so
Oh, look at you.
that was my big claim to fame. You can't see me at all because I'm way up in the top, but yeah,
Very
that's
very nice. That's
yeah.
that's really cool.
So
One of my friends that I went to high school with, she's in the Bon Jovi video. I'll be there for you because that
hmm,
was filmed at the Spectrum in Philadelphia.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah. So it was like we had a reunion the other time, and I went to her, and I'm like, shouldn't you be wearing sunglasses? And she's like, why? And I'm like, star of the Bon Jovi, I'll be there for you video. And she goes, oh, shut up. I had to hear about that all the time. And she didn't know about it until she seen it on the MTV. She had no idea they were like, she's seen cameras, but they just thought they were just like filming around the Spectrum,
Yeah.
when that came out. But she goes, yeah, I still hear about that 35 years later. Like that. I'm like, but that's cool. Show your kids. And she goes, not when I'm crying for John. I'm like, and I just started laughing. But
that's funny. Absolutely, Jim. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
My very first concert was not Rush. That's for sure. You don't want to know who my first concert was.
Mine was Billy Joel, the Bridge Tour in 1986. We were like, literally, me and my mom had the last 2 tickets at the Spectrum, and we were at the top of the Spectrum where, like, I'm 6'6",
Mm-hmm.
and literally when I stood up, I had to duck because it was like the overhang was that far. And when the usher like looked at our tickets, she kept on going to my mom, going, keep on going up. My mom's like, going up, and the steps were like getting steeper and steeper and steeper, and it was just like we were like the last 2 people there. So fortunately there was like enough room because there was only 2 seats there. So when he sold out the Spectrum, dude, because there was no seats available.
I've sat in the very last row in Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, which also used to be called Gund Arena, which used to be called the Q. In Cleveland, and I've sat in the very last row in there, and you stand up, you can touch the roof, so it's super high up there, and you feel the same thing, like you're looking. I'm scared of heights, so if I look down,
so am I.
Yeah, you feel like you're gonna trip and fall, and you're gonna fall on like 14 people below you. Not a great place to be. And my first concert was in 1980, and it was Melissa Manchester.
Oh, I like her. Did she?
I didn't.
Did she do? You should hear how she talks about you.
I have no idea. I didn't pick the concert. I just had to go.
That's cool. I like her. I always had the hots for Laura Branigan.
Gloria.
Yeah. Self-control. Oh yeah.
Oh, there you go. The summer of 1980, my mom, my stepfather, and me, we each got to pick a concert at Blossom Music Center in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. So my mom picked James Taylor.
Oh, okay.
My stepfather picked Melissa Manchester, which kind of surprises me. And I picked the Blues Brothers, which was Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi. Yeah. Well, there was a strike at the Blossom Music Center. The orchestra went on strike because the orchestra in the summer, the Cleveland Orchestra plays out there, and they went on strike. So they had to cancel some of the shows, and they canceled the Blues Brothers show. So I didn't get to see them. So I had to pick another concert, and I picked the Cars and the Motels. We talked about the Motels earlier. Okay. The Motels were opener. So yeah, definitely a blast from the past.
Yeah. Hey, when you're talking to the two over 50 guys, you're not going to get anything about Taylor Swift on this podcast.
Well, you would from me and my wife. My wife is a huge Swiftie.
So, is she really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She's a huge Swiftie. She makes the friendship bracelets and all that other stuff.
Oh, okay. So, more power to her.
My niece is a huge Swiftie. So they have that in common. All right. So you rated Nightbreed 3 out of 5?
Yeah, 3 out of 5.
Okay. I gave it a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
So
in around
which sounds worse than it really is. That's still above average for me. I think I would have probably rated it higher. Like I said, if I was a little bit younger when I saw it, but and I gave Frailty an 8 out of 10. So
yeah,
all right,
that was good.
All right, now I'm going to do my review of Deadpool and Wolverine, and
Yes, that's
then
what the kids are here for.
are
Well,
they?
everybody in the world is practically seeing Deadpool and Wolverine except for me, and I won't see it. I'm telling you right now until streaming services or it comes, to Mr. Alf and I get a copy of it.
Yeah.
So
It's totally going to be a non-spoiler review. It's humor is what what you're going to go see this movie for. Totally. Um, it's full of industry in jokes, sexual humor, juvenile innuendo, the fourth wall breaking stuff that he's done in the first two movies, the sight gags, the nostalgic callbacks. There's a lot of '80s songs in it. There's cameos. So you get everything that you're going to expect from a Deadpool movie. But they bring Wolverine back in a way that doesn't cheapen the ending of Logan. So it does manage to still keep Logan kind of intact. But I say that kind of with a little chuckle because if you watch the opening of this movie, that would be funny if you knew what I meant.
oh, okay.
But um, you'll get that joke when you see the movie. Basically, he destroys the grave site of Logan, trying to dig him up.
Oh, okay.
But the chemistry between Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds is totally genuine. You can tell they're friends in real life. The give and take between them two is really good, and it doesn't get old. The movie is just a wee bit too long for me, just a little bit, because it kind of falls flat in the middle. It feels like it's kind of spinning its wheels just a little bit, just because there's a couple of fight scenes that feels kind of repetitive. I think if they would have had just one big fight scene instead of the two smaller ones that they have, I think it would have been better. But that's a nitpick, totally. The violence is super gratuitous.
Okay.
It's super over the top. Honestly, I think this is probably the most violent Disney movie ever made. I think it would have to be. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. If somebody can think of another one that Disney's put out that's more violent than this, but I think it also has the most F-bombs for a Disney movie.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Okay.
It's rated R for a reason, folks.
Do you think there'll be an unrated version of it coming out?
I think it doesn't really need to be honest. I think it's hard enough as it is. I mean, if they went unrated, it would just be overkill. I think it's good enough the way it is. Is it the first rated R movie, Jim? He says it's definitely the most violent Disney movie ever. It's also the first R-rated Disney movie. Previous rated Disney properties were they always did it under Touchstone or Hollywood.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, this is definitely. I mean, the opening credits probably, are more violent than anything else that Disney's ever released, and then it just gets worse from there. So it's pretty violent. So I don't have anything really bad to say about it. It's a lot of humor. I mean, if you've seen the first two Deadpool movies, you know what you're going to get. And that's why I think it was such a success, because everybody knew what they were going to get with it and they knew what they wanted from it.
Right.
I do think it benefits from the fact that it's been such a long time since there was a Deadpool movie. When did the last one come out? 2018?
Yeah, I was going to say 17. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, and if you are, Jim says he's suffering from severe superhero burnout. That doesn't really affect this movie because they kind of touch on that in this movie.
Deadpool 2 was 18.
18, okay. So there's, even if you've got superhero fatigue, I think you'll get through this without any problems. But there are a few problems with it, but they're not super terrible. The story isn't really strong. but I don't think anybody's going to care about that because they just want to see Deadpool and Wolverine together. I don't even really know if the story makes 100% sense, because I really wasn't paying all that much attention to the story. It was a reason to get from the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie, and it was an excuse for Deadpool to bring Wolverine back into the mix of things. But
Right.
whether or not it was a necessity for him to come back or not, I don't even really care if it was necessary or not. And I don't even know if it makes sense in the larger world of the MCU, because I doubt very seriously that you're going to see Deadpool in the next Avengers movie. Maybe, but he doesn't work. You can't have Deadpool like breaking the fourth wall in an Avengers movie. That those two types of films don't really work together. So I don't think you're going to see that. He might be in it for 5 seconds or something, but I don't think it would work. And if you haven't seen your fair share of the Fox Marvel movies, you might not get some of the humor or some of the cameos in this. They might not hit as well as they would. So if you haven't seen like the Fantastic Four or the X-Men movies, obviously the X-Men movies because Wolverine's in it, but what are some of the other ones? Jesus, there's been a ton of the X-Men movies. So
Fantastic Four.
Yeah, Fantastic Four, X-Men.
I was just trying to go through because I think they're all running on. If you guys don't have a physical copy, I think they're all on Disney Plus now.
Okay, yeah.
I think
You might want to see at least some of them, because you might not get some of the jokes or cameos. And if you haven't seen at least some of the first season of the Loki TV show, some of the plot might not make sense, but nothing in this movie is rocket science. You're going to be able to figure it out. You're going to be able to place who people are and what's going on. So those are really super minor criticisms. So I'm actually giving Deadpool and Wolverine a 9 out of 10.
Wow, cool.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. If you know what you're getting with Deadpool and you go in expecting something else, you're going to be completely disappointed, because it's going to give Deadpool fans what they want, and that's exactly what it does. So if you're expecting anything other than a Deadpool movie, you're going to be really disappointed. If you're expecting what you got from the first two, you're going to be really happy.
Was he a very big comic book character, Deadpool? I don't do comics, so I don't really know.
I am not a big comic book person either. He's always been sort of a side character from what I know. But I don't really know. He's always been sort of on the periphery of things. Like he's dallied with the X-Men, and I know he's had X-Force, and there's been multiple iterations of Deadpool. Some of that is covered in this movie. So he's never been a huge like anchor character.
Right.
And they kind of touch on that in the movie too. So it's, it fits. And I'm really kind of hoping that if they do another Deadpool movie, they don't do one for a long, long time, because the type of humor that this is really could get old if they try to capitalize on it by doing another one too quick. So I think it was the movie we needed when we needed it, but we don't need another one real fast. Just enjoy this one, and enjoy it for what it is now, and be happy with it, and be happy that it came out and it exists and it's great. But let's hope Disney doesn't try to go to the well too many times. That's the only thing I'm worried about, and that's not the movie's fault, but that's what I'm worried about, that they're going to see the cash cow come in at $1 billion in 7 days or whatever and be like, let's do another one.
Yeah. But, well, I think they got their cash cow back now with Robert Downey.
Yeah.
So because they already have 2 movies back to back with that character coming out.
Right.
So
yeah.
but
it's all the ones in between that I'm
Yeah.
worried about. Yeah. Oh, Jim says I've owned and seen them all. That's why I'm suffering from burnout.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's funny because to tell you the truth, I grew up with Batman. Okay,
Mhm.
the Adam West Batman. So I didn't know, and I remember my mom got me and my brother sheets from Sears
Mhm.
that had the superheroes on it, and
Yeah.
with like. But I didn't know that there were two different. I didn't know there was a Marvel universe and this DC universe because I just thought they were superheroes. And like
Right.
my nieces get like really offended, and they're like, "No, DC, boo, Marvel, yay,"
Yeah.
kind of thing. And it's like, but I like them. I just take them if I'm entertained by the movie. I'm entertained by the movie,
Right.
because I actually thought when they were talking about, I thought Men in Black was a part of the universe too.
Oh, yeah. It's
Especially when the girl. The black girl that was in Tessa Thompson, I think her name is. Wasn't she in one of the Marvel movies?
I
I don't.
don't.
I know she was in Creed, but but I, I just I didn't know, and I thought they were bringing Men in Black into whatever universe.
Oh, okay.
That that that's why they didn't have Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith in this one. I thought they were trying to go for a younger audience with the Men in Black. You know, I forget the last Men in Black.
Oh, Men in
Oh,
Black.
okay. Okay, thanks, Jim. She
Yeah.
plays Valkyrie. And
Valkyrie.
okay,
Yeah.
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 So,
Men in Black, the original was based on a comic book, but it was an independent comic book from what I remember.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know because my niece was telling me that that girl was. Now I remember she was in Thor, and I just thought they were just doing the Men in Black movie to get her into like another universe.
Are you talking about the
With
Men
that.
in Black International?
Yeah, the international
Oh,
one.
okay.
Yeah, because they had Thor's brother as one of the people in there.
Mhm.
So I was just thinking they were going to do like, wasn't there like another Thor character like Hawkman or something like that? I don't know my superheroes. I know like the basic ones, but
Yeah.
I'm not really into like everybody.
No, that's cool. I used to be big into comics when I was a little kid. I used to buy the comics at a flea market. There was this woman there, this old woman, um, that she had this little table and she sold like the Silver Age comic books that are probably worth like a shit ton of money now for a dime a piece.
Yeah.
And I would buy up all the comics I could possibly afford. So I would like roll up dimes and I would take them there every Sunday and I would buy as many comic books as I could. So I would be reading all these comics from like the late 50s and 60s. And then I would buy the new comic books from the 70s. So I was reading like the old Superman, old Batman, um, way before I was even born. So I knew Marvel and I knew DC and I knew a lot about the comic book characters back then. More, I've probably forgotten more than I ever knew about
Oh, okay.
the comic books and the heroes and stuff back then. And then I was a huge Spider-Man fan and I was a huge Batman fan. But I fell out of reading comic books in the 70s and I just never got back into them. And it just seemed like a huge chore to get into them now because there's so many different variations and worlds and stuff. So I never really got into them. So I've gotten back into that stuff via the movies. So whatever Marvel and DC dish out in terms of the movies is what what I know. And so I can't compare them to the movies or to the comic books at all.
Right.
All right. So it is getting towards the end of the show. So we've got some movie recommendations to dish out.
Yes.
So Kenny, you have your Tubi movie of the week.
Yes. This one I've had on my list for a couple weeks, and I seen a trailer for it. Believe it or not, on YouTube, and this is called Dark Angel with Dolph Lundgren. I know nothing about this movie at all, except it has Dolph Lundgren in it, and it was made in the early '90s. So I'm always up for like some like really good action movies, and Dolph Lundgren, you're not going to get Hamlet, so you're definitely basically going to get a good cheesy action movie. So this is my Tubi pick of the week. It's called Dark Angel. I think it was made in '94. I wrote it down. Get it.
I think it was 90, wasn't it?
Yep, 1990. Yeah, hour and 31 minutes of your time. So I come in peace. Yes. So I'm looking forward to watching this. I probably rented this years ago because any kind of like horror action, I always watched. So, but I'm looking forward to checking that out. And this is called Dark Angel, and it's available on Tubi right now.
All righty. Thank you, Kenny.
You're welcome. And what do you got for us, Sean?
Well, I've got one. It is the reason I picked it is because it's actually got a sequel coming out. And that is Rendell Dark Vengeance.
Oh, okay, cool.
And this is a Finnish movie. And I know some people don't like this particular movie, but I liked it. It came out in 2017, and it's sort of a callback to some of the smaller scale superhero films of the 90s, sort of like Blade. Trying to think of what else, but when everything wasn't so epic, it was just basically maybe like the Daredevil TV series too.
Mm-hmm.
It's about this organization that they start pushing drugs onto the street, and this Rendell guy. There's an explanation of the name and the suit and all the stuff that go into it. So I won't get into that, but he becomes sort of a local focused superhero. It is a Finnish movie, so it does have subtitles. But it's kind of interesting to see a superhero movie that is not an American superhero movie. And it kind of looks from the cover, it kind of looks like it would be sort of a Batman ripoff.
Mm-hmm.
And it has some of the tropes of a Batman superhero movie kind of, but it's kind of interesting. And the new movie, The Cycle of Revenge, was just recently released on DVD. And I've actually got a copy of it coming from Shout Factory. So I'm very interested to see that. I want to rewatch Rendell Dark Vengeance in advance of watching the sequel. But I really like this film. I thought it was kind of a throwback to when superhero movies weren't so epic, and the world wasn't in danger. It was just a guy taking up a cause in his local area, fighting big bad guys in the local town. It was a bunch of meaty guys beating the shit out of each other. There were no lasers. There are no giant explosions. There's nobody going to space. It's just a guy sort of taking on a cause in his town and kind of going from there. So I thought it was pretty interesting and kind of fun. So that's
it looks really good.
Yeah, you scale your superhero expectations back a little bit and think more sort of a 90s film. And
okay, sort of like Shadow or
yeah, sort of, yeah. So
I think that gets really bad bad vibes. The Shadow. I always really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, it wasn't like there's no giant universe to memorize or to figure out or anything.
Right.
Everything's self-contained. There's no magic. There's no well, there might be some magic. I don't quote me on that because it's been a while since I've seen it. But there's it just doesn't have that. The world isn't teetering on the edge of destruction. It's just a guy in his local town.
Yeah. Jim wants to recommend one. Give us one.
Yeah, I see that. Jim, go ahead, Jim. we'll see what he got. Yeah, if you haven't seen Rendell, I highly recommend it. I picked it up at Walmart for like $9, but you can find it pretty much anywhere.
Jim, you
It's,
got to do the show one time with us.
yeah, we got to get you on.
We got to definitely have you on. Maybe we'll have you on in 2 weeks so you can talk about the movie you're recommending.
Boys and Company C.
Wow. No. I can honestly.
I've heard of it. I will write it down. $1977. Whoops. 1978. I think that was on HBO a lot.
It's not on any streaming services, though.
No, it's not.
No. I'll give you a brief synopsis. In 1967, 5 young men undergo boot camp training before being shipped out to Vietnam. Once they get there, the experience proves worse than they could have ever imagined.
So it's a comedy.
Yeah, so it's a laugh-out comedy. Andrew Stevens, Michael Lembeck, Craig Wasson.
Andrew Stevens. Wow,
Yeah.
that's a blast from the past.
Arlie Army's in it. Ermy.
That's the guy from Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, Full Metal Jacket. I thought Full Metal Jacket was his first acting role. Wow. Okay.
I think you mentioned this last show, didn't you, Jim?
And a whole bunch of other people I'd never even heard of.
Believe it or not, it is a comedy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, on IMDb, dude, it says drama war. So, but if you say it's a comedy, okay. 2 hours and 5 minutes. I've never even came past this.
I see the tagline: to keep their sanity in an insane war, they had to be crazy. Huh.
Yeah. It gets a 7 on IMDb, and somebody has, this is the original Full Metal Jacket.
Okay.
Good. It's one of my. This is. I'll give the guy credit. Tinsky from. This was dropped on, as the kids say, dropped on 2004. One of my favorite movies. The film is a good storyline. Stan Shaw did an excellent job as Tyrone Watson, and he was in The Great Santini too. The boot camp scenes are spot on, authentic. Sounds good. Now we just got to find it, Jim.
Yeah, we'll get ourselves some copies and track it down. But yeah. Maybe Jim, if you're interested, maybe we'll see if we can get you on next week if your schedule allows, or not next week, but in 2 weeks. But 2 and 2, yeah. But it is that time of the evening where we have got to come to a close. Yes. So I want to thank everybody who was in the chat with us tonight. John, Victor, Jim, definitely. Thank you again, Kenny, for having a good show.
Yes, thank you, Sean. Sorry, guys, I had to dismiss myself for a little bit, but it was bubbling.
Okay, time out.
Yeah, I didn't say any more than that. I just said it was bubbling. So I just that was my stomach bubbling.
We've got enough detail to figure it out. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So thanks, guys, for everybody for stopping in and watching us, giving up the Olympics for a little bit. And we will see you on our next show, which will be, what will that be? I can't.
Hey, we'll see you in August, people.
It's going to be August. Yeah. What the hell day of the week is it? It's going to be August 13th.
August
is our
13th.
Next show.
Wow.
August 13th.
My
Tuesday.
Cousin's birthday. Yes.
Do you have to be there?
No, she's the one that kicked me out in Florida.
Oh, okay.
That's one I didn't get along with in Florida.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll dedicate the show to her.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
All right. Thanks, Jim. Have a great night, everybody.
Yeah, we'll be in touch with you, Jim. Via if you're on the Instagram. So
yep.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll hook something up.
Thank you so much. Yeah, absolutely. So guys, thanks for a great night. Great conversation.
See you in 2 weeks.
See you